Hey, welcome back to Mount Pleasant Farm. Check out this quick and easy chick brooder that we've got going on here. Okay, so 2 years ago we got our first batch of 14 chicks of different breeds. But like everybody else who just gets into chickens, we think, oh, do we need to make a brooder? Do we just, what do you do with the brooder? What's the best way to have a brooder? So we came up with this idea for these storage bins put together. And this is literally just three 30-gallon plastic storage bins from like the dollar store, okay? So put them together, and as you see, I got a couple extra things going on here. I joined them together with just some regular, it's just basic hardware. Some wing nuts and some Phillips head screws with a fairly decent sized head on them. And you see I've got the, this is all fuel line and transmission hose that I've got here that I've cut open. I used it to put on the edge here. Cut a slit down the side, put it on the edge with these, because this is all cut. Got to kind of cut it so they fit together right. So I put this over here so it wasn't jagged and didn't cut you when you're trying to, mess with the chicks or take the bedding out. And as you see, I cut holes in between so they can pass through. This is like a chick habit trail. They love this thing. They were running back and forth. They had all kinds of stuff going. So you can see all the way through there. So we just now got this out of the barn loft and got it cleaned up. I figured it'd be good to share with everybody. So the only other thing that you need to know about joining the edges together, because these things, you see they got a gap between them when you set them together. So down there in the middle, you see I've got full transmission lines there in between to act as a buffer and also kind of a seal. This thing, just roll this thing back and show you on the other side here what I did. I took those screws, when I ran them through, I drilled holes to that transmission line as well to act as kind of a gasket and or buffer in between these bins. And I'll tell you, I've been pretty rough on these bins, after we got the chicks out of them, and they were stored in the barn loft. And then, I rebuilt the barn, and the barn had to get unloaded when we rebuilt it. So this thing's been moved around a lot, and but it worked well. Easy to clean. Get in there, the shop vac or whatever you do, just make sure you get your chicks out first with the shop vac. And I also fashioned a lid for the top that I'll show you here right now. I already moved the brooder inside. This is where it stays when we have chicks. This is only our second time, but is where they stay. So this is the lid that I made for it. It's kind of beat up. It's been outside. It's been up in the barn loft, but it's literally just a 1/2-inch piece of plywood that I cut a rounded, square out of a rectangle basically to fit this area. And I just took regular chicken wire, and as you see, stapled it to the back. This is nothing fancy, but man, let me tell you, it's functional. So get done dealing with the chickens. At first, the chicks, they don't care, okay? They can't get up out of those containers. But when they get older, this is in our house right now. We'll keep them in here for about the first week in our mud room just to make sure they're good to go. And then they'll go out to the garage, with heat lamps or whatever if needed. But it's kind of late in the season, so they may not need it. But anyway, it just sits there under its own weight, and it'll keep the chicks from jumping out of there when they get a little bit older. And then, as far as before they get to that age, you can keep this thing lifted up or just, have it stored somewhere else until you need it. Now, if you need heat lamps or whatever, we use a brooder heater, which is a low platform that sits in one of these brooders. So basically, we'll have one brooder is where the heat is. Then the other two, you can have food over here and water, and then this is just a messing around area. But they'll go back and forth through all these containers and just have a great time. You can take your heater clamp if you want, if you have a regular heat lamp, and you can clamp it to the top of that container, or you can put this lid down and you can set it on top of that screen so it's not touching anything flammable. Or like I said, we use a brooder heater, which you can get at Tractor Supply or Rural King or wherever. And it's a ceramic heater encased in plastic, and it lays flat in there, and it's raised up to a certain height, and the chicks can actually go underneath it. It has a brooder setting, it has a coop setting. So you can put it on the brooder setting to keep the brooder warm for the chicks. It stays at a constant 70, I think. And then when the chicks are older and they're chickens and in a chicken coop, if you live in a cold climate, you can actually take that brooder heater and hang it up inside the coop and flip it to heat instead of brooder, and it'll actually be a coop heater in cold weather. And we've turned it on a few times for our chickens when it's gotten, you know, really cold. Anyway, that's what I have for you. Quick and easy, cheap chick brooder. It works, I promise you. And we're getting ready to put another 16 in this one. Okay, so this is this brooder heater that I was talking to you about. It's flat. It's got adjustable legs that you can, you know, put it up at different heights. About the middle seems good for these tiny chicks that just got here. It's got an indicator right here for heat. I just now turned it on so you won't see much. The switch is pretty dirty, but you see it says brooder here and then heater over here. So once you get them in the actual chicken coop, if it's wintertime and freezing, you can turn it on. But otherwise, it's just brooder. Light comes on, and then that indicator there will turn on. It will just start getting orange, so you know that it's on. Then you just keep that poured out of the way however you do, and it'll be good to go. So there's plenty of room under there for those chicks to go underneath, and with this brooder setup, they can run back and forth. We'll put the food in this middle section. That over here is just exercise yard for the prison. So basically that's the setup, and I'll show you final setup here in just a minute with the chicks moved in. Okay, here we go. Got 16 chicks in here in the new brooder complex. You see there's the heater, of course. This is, I guess you're going to say, the restaurant section. They're all kind of ganged up around the food right now, and got the water. Then got a couple lonely souls over here, haven't found their way over. We'll show them where the good stuff is here in a minute. But yeah, they'll start migrating over here under this warm heater once they get accustomed to the place. Anyway, you got any questions, comments? Please, put them in the comments down below. If you've got questions, I respond back to a lot of stuff. So yeah, quick and easy chicken brooder. Can't beat it. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. We've always got farm-related stuff and tractor stuff, and all kinds of different things in between. So have a great day from Mount Pleasant Farm.